and you don't know that looking at the film actually, because the special effects are
Oh,
are quite
special effects in this movie are huge, are enormous. I mean, it took forever to make, but it's a good movie, family film. Go see it.
A family film where a volcano blows up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan is still one of the most beloved James Bond actors ever. Known for his stage charisma and action-packed performances, he captured the hearts of millions during his reign as 007, boxing almost $2 billion for the series. But despite his blockbuster appearances, there's an untold story that completely changed his career. Why did the producers drop him at the height of his success? And how did Brosnan reinvent himself after leaving the Bond legacy? Join us to reveal the surprising truths behind Pierce Brosnan's James Bond era and what came next. Pierce Brosnan's shocking end as James Bond. Pierce Brosnan is still ranked as one of the best ever actors to play James Bond. But something happened in 2004 that left lovers of the James Bond series completely shocked. Eon Production decided to drop him. More than 20 years later, Brosnan has shed light on what many people did not know about his era as Bond. For many fans, the decision to drop him felt like a betrayal.
And then Dante's Peak. And then I also did my own movie at the end of the year, which I produced, called The Nephew, with my company, which I set up at the beginning of the year.
A shocking blow that seemed to come out of nowhere. If you're wondering why this decision rattled the show's fans, Brosnan had played the James Bond role for over 10 years, won the hearts of fans, and many wanted to see more of him. But Eon decided to cut one of the most loved characters in cinema. To understand why his departure was so serious, we must dig into the events that led to this unexpected exit and the personal toll it took on the actor. What we will reveal will change everything you thought you knew about the actor. According to Brosnan, 2004 started like any other year, but a storm was brewing behind the scenes. He had enjoyed a remarkable run as Bond, starring in 4 highly successful films: GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day. Each film had pushed the limits of action, style, and suspense, securing Brosnan's place as the face of modern Bond.
The born in County Meath, Southern Ireland, a long time ago, and I lived a very kind of simple rural country life. You know, was brought up by the Christian Brothers, served mass and did all of that, and then left Ireland in '64.
By the time Die Another Day premiered, he had cemented his legacy in the role, and the show fans wanted more of him. But, as often happens in Hollywood, success can quickly turn into pride in the eyes of producers. Eon Productions, the company that has owned and produced the Bond franchise, insisted that they wanted a change. But the actual deal-breaker was Die Another Day. The producer complained that the action sequences were too extreme and the gadgets used were unrealistic. That is not all. The producer also complained that the film did not quite live up to the standard that the earlier films in the series had set. The producers felt it was time for a new direction with the franchise at a crossroads. This is where Brosnan began to have issues. The producers believed the only way to fix the problems with Die Another Day was to get a new actor. Rumors started spreading that a new face was stepping into the scene. At first, Brosnan said he remained hopeful, thinking that his work as Bond was far from over. He had given everything to the role. He had poured his heart and soul into it, and his dedication was evident in every scene. But behind closed doors, the producers, led by Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, were considering a younger portrayal of Bond that could appeal to a new generation. Many didn't know Brosnan was informed of the possibility of a new Bond before the official announcement. He had been told by Eon Productions that there was a chance the role could be recast, but the decision was still up in the air. Then something happened that left everyone completely shocked. The phone call eventually came in 2004, informing Brosnan that he would not return to the role. Brosnan said it hit him like a punch to the gut. He was caught unprepared by the news. He had spent years fighting for the role, working tirelessly to bring a special flair to Bond, and now it was all being taken away. He thought Die Another Day had set the stage for a new chapter in his role as Bond, but the producers had other ideas. He later admitted in interviews that the decision to let him go felt like a betrayal. It wasn't just that his time as Bond was over, but how it had been handled so unexpectedly, with little regard for his contribution to the franchise, left him feeling disrespected. What made matters worse was the way the whole situation developed. Surprisingly, Brosnan was not given a proper farewell or acknowledgement of his contributions to the Bond legacy. The producers instead chose to move forward with a new, younger actor, Daniel Craig, who would take the franchise in a completely different direction. What happened to Brosnan following Eon's decision will leave you emotional. Brosnan's reaction to Eon's decision. For Brosnan, this felt like being thrown aside after everything he had given to the role. It wasn't just the loss of the Bond role itself, but how he was treated stung the most. As the news of his departure spread, the media quickly spread the story. The public was divided. Some felt it was time for a change, while others felt Brosnan was still the best man for the job. In the following weeks, Brosnan found himself in the spotlight, answering questions about the end of his Bond era. According to him, the experience was devastating, but he also admitted that it was part of the unpredictable nature of the entertainment industry. The Bond producers had their vision for the future, and no amount of loyalty or past success would change their decision. Brosnan also admitted the emotional impact of the decision. As much as he tried to maintain a sense of professionalism, the pain was real. He had worked for years to build his career, and playing Bond was the pinnacle of his success. To have that taken away in such a cold, detached manner.
Even though Roman Polanski, when I met him for the first time over lunch, I said, "Look, Roman, you want me to play this role?" I didn't ask why me, because I thought he might change his mind. I said, "Am I playing Tony Blair?" And he said, No, you're not playing Tony Blair."
Left him questioning the nature of the industry he had devoted his life to. He had been part of the Bond family for over a decade, and now felt like a stranger. The loss of Bond was a huge blow professionally. James Bond had made Brosnan a household name and one of the most recognized actors in the world. At the end of his Bond era, he faced the challenge of reinventing himself, finding new roles, and proving to audiences that he wasn't just the man who played 007. Despite the pains, it would be wrong to think Brosnan's relationship with the Bond franchise ended on a sad note. Despite his hurt and frustration, he later admitted that he was grateful for the opportunities the role had provided him. According to Brosnan, he would never forget his incredible experiences while playing Bond. The travel, the fame, and the chance to work with some of the best filmmakers in the industry. But even with that, the pain of being let go remained. It was a bitter reminder of how quickly things could change in Hollywood, no matter how successful you were. In interviews following his departure, Brosnan told reporters that while he was hurt by how the situation was handled, he understood the need for change. He knew the franchise had to evolve and was mature enough to accept that sometimes that meant moving on. The decision to move on from Brosnan was not just about his age or the changing face of the franchise. You could call it a shift in the type of Bond that the producers wanted to create. For instance, under Daniel Craig, Bond took a darker storyline. That is not all. Gone were the days of extravagant gadgets and larger-than-life stunts. The future Bond would be rougher, more vulnerable, and more human. It was a shift people loved in the years that followed, but for Brosnan, it felt like a rejection of the Bond he had worked so hard to build. After the firing, Brosnan's career also took a new direction. He found success in a series of other roles. He proved that while he may no longer be Bond, he still had plenty to offer the world of cinema. The extent of his success after the Bond series still surprises many. Brosnan in the post-Bond years. Pierce Brosnan admitted that changing from being Bond to being a usual everyday actor was not easy. There were moments of doubt, but there was also a clear desire to break free from the typecasting that often comes after playing a legendary character for too long. For Brosnan, the first step was understanding that Bond's shadow would never fully disappear, but he had to step out from under it to take on new roles that would challenge him as an actor. Luckily, things fell in line for him. It all began with the Matador movie in 2005. In this dark comedy, Brosnan played Julian Noble, a hitman. Unlike the polished British agent Bond, Noble was rough, evil, and had a lot of moral issues. The film was a bold choice, showing that Brosnan was willing to take risks and try characters far from what he had done for more than 10 years. When the movie was released, something happened that surprised both his fans and critics. Keep watching to find out. The Matador was a breakthrough for Brosnan. Critics who had long known him only with Bond were impressed by his ability to completely transform into a character who was both funny and wicked. The role earned him praise for his humor, dramatic depth, and ability to embrace a dark, unpredictable character. For many, it was proof that Brosnan wasn't just a pretty face with a license to kill. He was a serious actor with depth and knowledge. The success of The Matador opened new doors for Brosnan. In 2008, he starred in Mamma Mia, a light-hearted musical based on the popular songs of ABBA. The role of Sam Carmichael, a wealthy American who is the father of Meryl Streep's character's daughter, was far from anything Brosnan had done before. His casting in a musical raised a lot of concern, as the world had never seen him sing, let alone dance. But Brosnan embraced the challenge wholeheartedly. Mamma Mia was a massive success, becoming one of the highest-grossing films of 2008. Despite his lack of professional singing experience, he won over audiences with his genuine energy and charm. His performance showed that he could not only handle drama and comedy, but also the musical genre. The film's success proved that he wasn't just a typecast action hero, he was an actor who could excel in a lot of genres. Despite the film's success, Brosnan's portrayal of Sam Carmichael in Mamma Mia also served as a reflection of his post-Bond journey, one where he was shedding the expectations placed on him and embracing roles that were as diverse as his talents. His critics, who had once doubted his ability to break free from Bond, were now forced to accept that he was good all round. While Mamma Mia was a big success, it was his next film, The Ghostwriter, that truly demonstrated his ability to tackle more dramatic roles. The film was directed by Roman Polanski. The Ghostwriter featured Brosnan as Adam Lang, a former British Prime Minister caught in a political scandal. In this film, Brosnan played a character who was politically active. He was able to play roles of power, guilt, and personal responsibility. The film was well received by critics, and Brosnan's performance was singled out for its depth. For Brosnan, this role became a turning point. It was a chance to prove that he could thrive in the world of political thrillers and dramas, further distancing himself from the image of James Bond. As Brosnan continued to try different roles, the idea of being forever tied to the Bond franchise slowly faded. In 2016, he starred in The Foreigner, alongside Jackie Chan. In this action-packed thriller, Brosnan played a former IRA member turned politician, whose past is brought to the surface when his daughter is killed in a terrorist attack. That is not all. He also continued to stay active in both film and television. There is another part of Brosnan's story that people rarely pay attention to. We all know Brosnan the James Bond, trying to keep the world safe, killing terrorists and enemies of peace across the world. But who was Brosnan before the James Bond series? Pierce Brosnan's rise to stardom as 007. Pierce Brosnan's rise to becoming James Bond was the result of years of persistence, talent, and an undeniable sense of charm that set him apart. By the time he played Bond in GoldenEye 1995,
I remind you, 007, that you have a license to kill, not to break the traffic laws.
I wouldn't think of it.
Good.
Brosnan was already a household name thanks to his success on television. Yet, the journey to 007 was not an easy one. Brosnan faced some setbacks, near misses, and a lot of doubters to get to where he had long dreamed of.
James Bond. Charming, sophisticated secret agent.
Becoming the world's most famous secret agent. His journey to playing Bond began in the mid-1980s when he played in the popular TV series Remington Steele. His charisma, quick wit, and natural ability to stay sophisticated and talk smoothly made him the best choice for the franchise. In 1986, when Roger Moore retired from the role after A View to a Kill, everybody knew that Brosnan was the leading candidate to succeed him. The producers of the Bond series were impressed by Brosnan's charisma and screen presence. He had the qualities they wanted in the modern Bond, a mix of elegance, toughness, and sex appeal that could keep the franchise alive after Moore left. However, something happened, and the contract could not be signed. The role eventually went to Timothy Dalton, who brought a deadlier and more serious take to the character in The Living Daylights and License to Kill. While Brosnan moved on from the disappointment, the Bond producers didn't forget him. By the early 1990s, the producers once again looked to Brosnan as their top choice to revive the series. This time, there were no contractual issues, and in 1994, Brosnan was officially announced as the fifth actor to play James Bond in the Eon series. The timing was perfect. The Bond franchise needed a fresh start, and Brosnan was the ideal candidate to bridge the gap between the charm of Roger Moore and the wild character of Timothy Dalton. What happened during his first movie for the Eon surprised the whole movie industry. Brosnan played Bond in GoldenEye and brought a renewed energy to the series.
I mean, GoldenEye was good. GoldenEye I had trepidation going in, sure.
The film was directed by Martin Campbell, and it was a critical and commercial success, grossing over $350 million worldwide. That is not all. It also introduced a new generation to the character while re-attining parts of the earlier films. Brosnan played Bond as a witty, sophisticated, and charismatic character. In GoldenEye, Brosnan's performance left everyone in awe. His chemistry with co-star Isabella Scorupco, who played Natalia Simonova, made the film a fan favorite. Following the success of GoldenEye, Brosnan returned for 3 more films, each building on the success of his first. Tomorrow Never Dies took Bond into the realm of media manipulation and corporate greed, with Brosnan delivering a performance that mixed charm with determination. Paired with Michelle Yeoh's Wai Lin, one of the most capable and independent Bond women, Brosnan's Bond proved he could hold his own in a partnership of equals. In The World Is Not Enough, Brosnan acted themes of trust, betrayal, and vulnerability. According to film experts, Brosnan's ability to balance emotional and action-packed elements of a film always stood him out. Brosnan's final outing as Bond came in Die Another Day. The film celebrated the franchise's 40th anniversary. Brosnan embraced the role with the same confidence and charisma that had throughout the other Bond series. Throughout his time as Bond, Brosnan brought a humor and humanity to the character. He understood the weight of the role and the legacy he was inheriting, but he also made it his own. His portrayal of Bond was modern, yet timeless.
Yes, but I survived it anyway, and so...
You certainly have survived it.
By way of Navan and Wimbledon, and now the Hollywood Hills in L.A. That's a strange place.
It's not bad.
Appealing to longtime fans while capturing the hearts of a new generation of viewers. Brosnan's contributions to the Bond franchise was not limited to the screen. He played a key role in promoting the films, attending countless premieres, press events, and interviews to ensure the series' continued success. His professionalism and dedication to the role earned him the respect of his peers and the admiration of fans worldwide. By the end of his tenure, Brosnan was regarded as one of the most beloved actors to play James Bond. His 4 films collectively grossed over $1.5 billion at the global box office, setting the stage for the film's success in the years to come. Brosnan's Bond was a cultural phenomenon, and his impact on the character and the series is still felt today. Are you wondering what he's been up to lately? Well, keep watching to find out. Pierce Brosnan's Philanthropy and Activism. Brosnan has shifted his attention towards philanthropy and activism in recent years, and it actually started as far back as 2001. Brosnan was made the UNICEF Ambassador for Ireland in 2001, picking up the mantle from another Bond actor, Roger Moore, who had served as a Goodwill Ambassador for years. Brosnan even teamed up with Liam Neeson to record a heartfelt message for UNICEF's Unite for Children, Unite Against AIDS campaign. But Brosnan's story doesn't stop there. In 2004, he stood firmly behind John Kerry during the presidential election and openly voiced his support for same-sex marriage, proving that he has other values outside Hollywood. Rewind further to 1962, a young Brosnan, just 9 years old, first heard about the nuclear arms race. It started a fire in him that never went out. By the 1960s, he was using his platform to back Greenpeace's mission to halt nuclear testing. He even boycotted the French premiere of GoldenEye to protest French nuclear tests. A bold move for a man deeply committed to making a difference. Doesn't that make him a great man? Between 1997 and 2000, Brosnan and his wife, Keely Shea Smith, joined forces with the Natural Resources Defense Council and the International Fund for Animal Welfare to save Laguna San Ignacio from becoming a salt factory site. This wasn't just a random piece of land. It is the last natural breeding ground for the gray whale. Their determination helped preserve this natural treasure. That is not all. Later, the couple took on a new challenge closer to home. Alongside Halle Berry, Cindy Crawford, and Daryl Hannah.
Whistling Paradise is an expose of the biotech's use of restricted use and general use pesticides on the island of Kauai. We are ground zero for genetic engineering testing, research and development. And I thought it was important that we were able to share the plight of the people of not only Kauai, but of the Hawaiian Islands.
They fought against the Cabrillo Port liquefied natural gas facility off Malibu's coast. Their efforts paid off when the project was denied a lease, and Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger vetoed it in May 2007. That same month, the couple donated $100,000 to rebuild a playground in Kauai, Hawaii, where they have a home. Brosnan didn't stop there. He presented a film at Live Earth in London and lent his voice to TV ads promoting environmental causes. He's also a proud member of the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society's Board of Advisors. Oh, and in 2004, he was named Best Dressed Environmentalist by the Sustainable Style Foundation. Who knew saving the planet could look this good? Pierce Brosnan has been married to Keely Shea Smith since 2001. Together, they have 2 sons, Dylan and Paris. Brosnan also has 3 other children, Christopher, Sean, and his late daughter Charlotte, from his previous marriage to Cassandra Harris. In 2021, Brosnan launched his first-ever NFT collection. Surprisingly, he called it The Big Noise. He dedicated the project to empowering artists, promoting sustainability, and embracing cutting-edge technology. The inspiration for Big Noise traces back to the Golden Eye. During production, he painted a piece called Earplugs. For the NFT, he took it a step further. He added self-recorded sound elements, including his own voice, and merged them with other visuals to create an immersive, multisensory experience. It was Brosnan's way of showing that art, much like himself, can change the world. Thank you for staying with us. What is your favorite Brosnan Bond title? Share your opinions with us in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the following video on your screen and you will enjoy it.